got the mk2 Wildcat out today, and I'm just going to compare two pellets. I'm just going to put two mags of each H&N Barracuda FT pellets, which are 9.57 grain, and then slightly heavier Jsb Exact Diablo, which are 10.34 grain. So got the Eagle Vision magazine mounts I've put on the side here. You can put them on either side of the gun. I just find them a bit more accessible on the left hand side, and they're out of the way of the cocking lever, because if they were on this side I think I might be sort of grabbing them as I'm cocking the gun. So they're quite a neat little feature. Will fit 4 of the mags on there. The other magazine holders you can get are ones where there's a plastic insert to go in the stock. There's a piece of plastic that slots in, and that's another option to hold your magazines. But I quite like this one. It's quite easy to grab them. So I've got the H&Ns in the first two, and the Jsb in the front 2 mag holders. 35 yards, paper target. Just going to see which ones the gun prefers. Hopefully, I think the H&Ns are generally a better pellet. They're hand sorted supposedly. I don't know how they go about that, but they're more expensive. But I'm kind of hoping that the Jsbs perform equally as well, because they're a cheaper pellet. They're cheaper, and it's a 500 tin pellet, and the H&Ns are in a 400 tin pellet. So hopefully if those perform just as well, then I can just stick with one pellet. It's a heavier pellet as well, so it's a slightly harder hitting. I'll stick with those pellets then and just buy those. That's the other thing with these magazine holders, you can mount them either way around as well, so both sides of the gun, plus you could put them upside down. It'd be slightly easier to pull the mags out actually if they're mounted upside down, and they will hold them securely enough, but just for added security, and looks neater I think with the writing the right way around, I'm happy with them facing upwards. So the back one, I mean, you've got to sort of have a bit of a technique of pulling them out. It's just pull it up and back towards you. That one's near the optic there. Come out nicely, fits in with the ball bearing on the front. Just trying out something different with the camera. Got the angle from a mirror on the target, and then the muzzle end on the end of the range. See if that works anyway. I'm going to try the field target pellets first. Okay, so that's one magazine. I have got a slight right to left breeze. One mag. I'll do another mag now. I'll stick this facing this way this time. I'm not adjusting for the wind. I'm just aiming at the bull, and then the wind's carrying them off a bit. .16-shot group with the H&N Barracuda FT pellets. Similar sort of result. The sun's blocking it a bit. There we are. Bit odd that these are slightly heavier pellets, which you'd think would be shooting lower, but for some reason most of my shots have gone slightly higher than the bull, than the field targets, which are just off to the left. So don't know what that's about. By the way, glass and shooting ranges don't generally go together unless you're shooting an FX Wildcat, but it's in a bit of a experimental shoot, just trying out some different angles and things, so if it breaks, it breaks. I'll put the second magazine of the Jsb heavies through that target now. So there you go, that's 2 mags with the Jsbs. Very similar result. Turn away from the sun a bit. Jsb's on the left, H&N Barracuda FT's on the right. In breezy conditions. The FT's is a tighter group. I'm going to put some of it down to human error as well, because the wind's blowing the gun a bit on the shooting stand. I'll just show you the range in a minute. So I'm quite happy with how the new shooting range is working so far. I've got 35 yards set up from this target stand down to my shooting bench, down that sort of corridor there. There's a little bit of an open area here where the wind's getting to. I've got to go another path to the left, or to the right from the shooting point of view. And then the middle part of the range is quite sheltered because it's quite thick with willow trees mainly. A few hawthorns in the middle of it, but there's a good barrier in between. I might need to put a bit of a screen up where the shooting bench is here at the end because it's exposed a bit. Cut all this out since last time. Where the tractor is there, there's a gate. You couldn't even see the gate there, it was that overgrown. And I'm just shooting, there's a bit of a triangle of trees here, and you can see my range through the middle there then. Just thread the pellet down there. And if I put the targets right to the back, I've got sort of just over 40 yards then. So if I want to push the range out a bit further, I can. But happy with it so far. You have to excuse the poor audio quality. I'm just using an action camera. It's the sound isn't great. I'm just gonna put a couple more targets up. I just find it slightly odd that the heavier Jsb on the left is shooting slightly higher than the H&Ns. I'm fairly sure I didn't mix up the magazines before shooting, but I'm just going to double check that. I'm going to whack a few more shots into a couple of other targets, because that would be interesting if the heavier pellet's shooting higher. Right, I've definitely got Jsb exacts in the front too, and the H&Ns in the back too. one mag in each. The JSB Exact Heavies and the H&N Barracuda FTs. Who can explain that then? These pellets are slightly heavier. Why isn't the lighter pellet shooting higher? Slightly odd. But there you go. And I'm happy with the way both pellets are grouping. So I don't see why the JSB Exact pellets couldn't be the ones I use for my general target shooting, because they're good enough. There's no noticeable difference really between the performance of the two pellets.